A trip to Karuizawa in the winter. Karuizawa is 70 minutes from Tokyo by Shinkansen, a tourist area with very easy access. In winter, Karuizawa has many activities in which you can casually enjoy the abundance of nature. There are also romantic lights in various areas of the town. There are many spots you will want to upload to the SNS. Come and have experiences you can only get in Karuizawa during the winter.
It's on my to-do list for sure.
ここはカナダ
Definitely
の
want to make it
カーリン
there.
グ場のように枠僕は身近な場所にこうカーリング場があるっていうのはまあ幸せな環境でずっといるなと思います。
ですから逆算
Okay, a very pleasant good day and welcome to the Osama Highlands Sports Club in Sapporo, Japan for the World Curling Tour New Year's event. We're here today bringing you this match between Delaney Strouse of the USA versus Mayu Minami from Japan. I'm Dave Schmel along with Brian Chick, and we're here to bring you this game. And Brian, I think we got a good one here. This Strauss team has really had a good season thus far.
Yeah, they're a great young team playing out of Michigan, and there's a lot of teams out of Japan who your North American audience might not be so familiar with. You might know the Fujisawas and the Yoshimuras, but there are a lot of decent teams in Japan that you've probably never heard of, and this could be one of them. I honestly don't know much about them.
All right, well, we will learn together, and we are going to be looking forward to seeing some of your commentary in the chat. We will be following along. We have the lead here for Team Strauss, Becca Rogers throwing, and we are underway. Team Japan has the hammer here in the first end. Strauss will be throwing red rocks.
Looks like the first one goes in on purpose. After pregame practice, you're probably able to throw a guard if you want to, so they've just decided to keep this clean for the first little while anyway.
Yeah, just trying to feel it out. It's, this is both teams' first match of this event.
Yeah, teams are playing in a 5-team pool. So they'll have 4 round robin games before playoffs are decided.
That takeout attempt does go a little bit wide. So now the clean end strategy may go away, and Strauss change gears right away.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes your plan shifts gears that quickly. It's been one shot, and already the tactics are getting altered.
So now looking to throw that tight center guard.
This one looks like it's a little bit heavy too, sliding right in.
Still trying to get a feel for the weight here. Both teams, of course, had the opportunity to take a practice. So it's 2 in the rings. And now asking the lead to throw a double.
Yeah, not the end of the world for Team Strauss because that's kind of what they were leaning towards anyway. So they're not heartbroken about having the second one in the rings.
And the leads always like the opportunity to throw a double, not something that they get to do very often.
And just like that, we're back on serve, as I like to say.
And we are on serve, and we're going to go back to trading hits now. And here comes Sydney Mulaney, 22 years of age, from Concord, Massachusetts. This is on its way. They appear to be holding it just a touch, looking pretty happy with it, just trying to move it over a skosh. And it's going to make the takeout and roll over to the side.
Yeah, nice throw there. Kept the weight up, so it's not going to curl a whole ton.
Now looking back on the hit parade, Mizuki's Saito looking to remove the red rock.
Ooh. Over curls just a little bit, and I'm not sure what happened there because they weren't sweeping most of the way down. They were watching that. If they knew she was tight, they should have been sweeping a little bit sooner.
Now the call here from Delaney is to throw one even with it just off center, splitting the house, but not really a tremendously wide split.
No, this shot has two purposes. If you put it where she indicated, then it can act as a guard. You can use it later on to either tap up or go around, but also you're throwing it into that what we used to call the junior force. Split the rings, make sure there's no doubles, and make sure that they can't remove both shots with one stone. Now, where it is actually a pretty good spot because it'd be either a thin slash or a very thin double. So I think mission accomplished there.
Yeah, it's definitely just biter-ish.
Biter-ish. So this time they're on it a little bit earlier, trying to hold the line. I think we got a field goal here, though.
And things not going exactly Team Japan's way here for Minami, and now Strouse is going to elect to draw top four here.
Yeah, and that's why the guard that was just thrown, or the tight draw that was just thrown, serves that double purpose. Now there is enough room, assuming that you get a bit of curl, that you can get around that. Maybe sit top four, either half or totally buried, and then Minami's going to be in chase mode for sure, more so than she already is.
So here's Ann O'Hara, the third for Team Strauss.
Looks like we're having just a little bit of trouble with the feed here, but we'll hopefully get back on track in a minute.
Yeah, we're going to work on that. The wonders of modern technology. This here we had the world's fastest ice at the moment.
That was about the 65-second hog to hog.
They must have taken some of that magic ice and added to their pebble water.
We are told that the feed has been lagging a little bit, but tends to catch up. So just stay tuned. We'll get back to the live action.
So Team Strouse has had a very good campaign of it so far this year, Brian. They were winners of 2 events, most notably the Mother Club Fall Curling Classic and the Euro Super Series in Scotland.
Yeah, they're a very solid young team. Most of them are, like you said, 22, 23 years old, and really a team to keep an eye on in the U.S. They'll probably be around for quite a while and competing for those.
Good way to look at it. And just if I wasn't going to throw a stone, where does my opponent want one? So they are on this hard. It looks like it needs to go.
It's got a long way to curl too. We haven't had a good chance to see what the draws are doing, but I don't think that this is going to finish the 4.5 feet it needs to. So this is an opportunity for the U.S. team to sink one in there and really put the pressure on.
And I think we just saw our end plan flip again, and now you have to look at the steel. It's been served up to you on a platter.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even if she doesn't throw, you're sitting probably 2. So you're going to make them throw for a maximum of 1. And if you make it really good, maybe touching the button or top 4 foot buried, you can make that draw really difficult. They're choosing to come from the other side, though, so we'll get to see a sense if this one curls anymore, because that yellow intern didn't really.
So here's Delaney Strouse representing the Traverse City Curling Club in Michigan. Nice new facility that's opened up. This one looks to be a mite tight. And that is going to wreck on the guard, I think.
It was light, but also that gives you a sense of how much that side is curling compared to the other one. That one was probably a good 5 feet of curl, and she was very positive with the release, really pokey, lots of rotation. So it wasn't how she threw it that curl. That side's just swinging quite a bit. I think the intern side is definitely good, or the clockwise side, left side of the sheet as we're looking at it, is going to be playing a little bit straighter.
So now the 4th for Japan. Going with the outturn, the counterclockwise rotation. And let's see if they get dialed in here. Both teams struggling a little bit with the weight. And that needs to go, and it just ticks off the center guard.
Little casual with the line call, but they got away with it. Like we saw, that curl is pretty aggressive when it decides to go, so you're going to have to keep an eye on that wall side.
And there we go. It's a single point for Japan. And after the first end, they take the 1-0 advantage. We'll be back from Sapporo.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Goldline's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a Goldline.
It's a Goldline.
It's a Goldline.
And is the choice of champions.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next curling stadium.
We're back here from Miyota, Japan. And it is Delaney Strouse with the hammer here, trailing by 1 in the second end.
Yeah, she's not worried. That giving up 1 was by design. Not exactly how she probably anticipated doing it. I think she expected a few more takeouts to be made, but mission accomplished, like we said. She gave up her 1. Now we'll have the hammer, and we'll probably see the American team trying to put a little more pressure, but unforced error right off the bat there from Rebecca Rogers.
Yeah, we see both teams struggling to dial it in a little bit here. This is obviously the first time going in that direction. How much do you find that it changes speed-wise between ends going in the new direction?
By the time you've had 2 practices and you've played a whole end, and that end did use both sides of the sheet, I imagine the whole sheet across the board is pretty much up to speed by now. It's just a matter of, are you finding paths that maybe aren't quite there yet? But I'm really surprised that Rebecca threw that one through, because that by after practice and a full end, you should be a little bit closer on your draw weight by now.
And that one does find the back of the button, and now looks like they're calling a little down weight hit shot here.
Yeah, you can see all of it, so you don't really need to be too cute. This was the side that we were saying was probably the straight side, so they're trying to make it curl with that directional sweeping. But she threw a nice soft weight, so it looks like it is trying to come up just that bit. And it doesn't do it. So there's another indicator that left side of the sheet is not quite as swingy.
And now, so an opportunity here for the Minami rank. Going to throw a guard here. This is Mizuki Sato.
Looks like it's sliding a little bit deep too. They were looking for a guard top 12 maybe, and this is going to be right to the button, and that was almost backline weight for a guard. So there must be something going on that is confusing these curlers, because the draw weight precision has not been there so far.
You have to wonder if the all the spectators on the adjacent sheet aren't doing something with the environment.
Yeah, and also the boards that's an artificial floor that they're all sitting on. So there is another sheet of ice next to them on that side. The fact that it's covered up, and the spectators are there will definitely influence the ice. But so far we've seen a lot of curl coming off that side, and not a ton of curl coming from this side that we're looking at, where the broom is.
So the guard gets removed, and now another one's going to come up in its place. So what would your advice be to a skip if they just really can't figure out the ice? Would you try to jump all in and throw a big busy end, or would you just try to keep it clean?
Well, especially in this case, based on what we saw in the first end, we saw the Minami team miss quite a few open takeouts, and I don't think that this Delaney Strouse team is going to miss as very many open hits, although we did see one earlier on. You're going to out-hit these guys all day. They're going to miss before you are likely, so you can get away with playing those hits until you get a little bit more comfortable with the ice. And also, if you're throwing more hits, you tend to get yourself in less trouble early on. By trying to play that finesse game when you're not making the shots, you can really get yourself dug into a hole pretty quickly.
And Now they are going to look to remove some granite here.
And that just gets one, and that one over curled again. So the theme continues. Curly on one side, straight on the other.
すごく細く何回も繰り返し言ってますねこれ。ベリーハードはだからまあ言葉通り。
そうです。まあ非常に強く。
Throw another one up there.
そうです。強くやってくれということですね。
Rinse and repeat.
シュトラールはガードですね。
It's always interesting when you have a new player throwing the guard. It's not the same shot. It's a whole different person doing it.
This one looks like it needs a bit of help, and it will just get there, I think. Yeah, even though it is a new person, you'd expect these teams to be at a caliber where they know how each other are throwing. They communicate the weights, and whether that's through hog-to-hog times or split times, their releases should be somewhat similar if they're gonna, try to make the same shots. So that's one of the things that I always deal with every team I ever work with is like try to get your throws to be as similar as possible, and at least know where you have to make the adjustments if you have to change the weights or the room.
申し訳ありませんでした。それは今来たということは聞こえてますか皆さん。
あ、僕たちずっと喋ってましたね。
You gave this one a pretty good poke, but it is on that curly side, so this one I expect will come up.
はい、やらさせていただいてます。
坂田さんと山口でやらせていただいてます。
坂田でございます。ボトル。
I don't think that's the one they were going for, but it still does the job.
It did remove one of them.
シュトラール攻めに行く。攻めに行くならガードの裏にカムアラウンドですね。センターの裏。
So they're going to try to put another one right into that top 4 foot, maybe frozen area, or maybe top 8. With that guard way up high, it will complicate things.
何かありましたらね、皆さんここで情報共有させていただければ。
ありがとうございます。
But if you can ever figure out that curly side, it's going to have to be a well-placed guard to really make that rock ungettable.
Yeah, based on what we've seen, little stumble there. Based on what we saw in the first and how much that side can curl, a guard that high, right where this one is not going to be very useful. You need to be at least halfway or even closer to tight to be an effective guard. So now that guard got nudged out of the way, you're going to see it from the other side.
And they are going to take it on. Probably throwing a heavy board weight, I would say here.
Yeah, you got to be careful though. If this one floats out wide, you can jam it on your red in the back and roll out. And Japan's just going to throw another one right in behind. So I'd almost prefer this one to be a little on the softer side. So you either get the guard out of the way or you make sure it curls up to the nose. Looks like it's just a nice hack weight.
And it does catch that top guard.
なかなかこのライン攻略できないですね。
前が開きました。
So now they're going to go and put that up there, and then now you're going to run into multiple issues because now both your draw paths on both sides are compromised.
Yeah, it does make it difficult. A good guard here could turn the screws a little bit. However, we haven't seen a lot of precision with these soft weight shots. So the curl on this side, I think this one would be very easy to throw light and over curl on. But just a matter of execution at this point. If you can put this in a good spot, your steel is definitely in play.
So the Japanese skip looking to do one of the skip's favorite things, throw a guard.
Easier said than done in this case, but certainly a makeable shot, especially once you get a little more comfortable.
Just keeping it clean initially.
Line is definitely more critical on this one.
But this has to go. They are really leaning into it hard for the weight.
It's over.
And
get that last little bit of finish.
No, you can I think you can still. It's so high. I believe the rock is still accessible.
We'll have to see the other view, but I agree. I think there's at least a good half a rock sticking out on the outturn side here. But you're still running into that same jam potential.
Similar weight to what Anna threw, 12.5.
Took a little bit more ice, and I still think they're probably just throwing hack weight.
The good news for Team Strouse is that guard is high enough. They probably do have a draw in it, even if they were to lose this shooter.
Yeah, I think that guard's high enough that you can definitely curl up, probably right to nose, and even get a little past nose. If you do it just right. You got to get pretty close to that guard, though.
So now here's Delaney Strouse with her first. On the way,
lots of room.
Past the guard, is going to get it. Will it squeak by? Will it squeak by far enough? And I think it's just yellow for second shot.
Yeah, I think I needed to curl another millimeter to avoid that jam. And you can see by the roll on the back yellow-red combination there that she really only threw just maybe backline weight. I think if it curls an inch more, she makes it, or if she throws it a hair harder and hits it in the same spot, then you probably get enough kick off that yellow.
Yeah, that shot just missed by a skosh in each direction. So now a hit and remove, and the force will be on.
They're hammering it. This is a little tight from the looks of it. On the guard. Little ricochet, so there's going to be a shot for 3 here, I think.
Yeah, 今投げる前に斉藤選手がね、確認したんですけども、センターラインのすぐ近くだと曲がってくるし、それより離れると曲がってこないし。
Yeah, it's just a matter of how you want to take this one on, what kind of weight you want to throw. Rule number 1 here is make sure you get your 2. Obviously, it's very makeable for 3, but you don't want to rush it just because you got a break. I've seen so many teams where they get a bit of good luck, they get their eyes light up, and they run down the ice and try to make the shot. So I like that they took a second to talk about it, figure out where the broom's going to go, maybe decide based on that last one how much it's going to curl. She might throw a hair more weight on this one, a little bit more in back line. Probably only board weight on this one.
Yeah, I think I like that. Still give your brushers a chance.
Yeah, as long as you touch that yellow, you're taking 2. If you come up to the nose, you got your 3. And this looks pretty good. No doubt about it.
And there it is. It's a score of 3 for Delaney Strouse from the United States, and they take a 3-1 advantage after 2 ends. We'll be back with more on Curling Stadium.
Calling all curlers, novice to pro. Ashland Curling Supply's patented rotator disc system lets you customize your slider right in the store. Velcro attachments make it easy to find the sliding platform that's right for you. Shop Ashland Curling Supplies, 700 McPhillips, online at ashland.com.
A trip to Karuizawa in the spring. It takes 1 hour by Shinkansen to Karuizawa from Tokyo. You can enjoy abundant nature and various experiences. Visit Karuizawa in the spring.
You bring it back.
Yep, you're back. And welcome back to Miyota, Japan for the third end of play between Mayu Minami out of Sapporo and Delaney Strouse playing out of Traverse City, Michigan. Nice shot from Strouse there to take 3 in the second and goes on the offensive to start the third by throwing the center guard in the cover.
自分のガードストーン。はい。もっとずれろ。そうですね。あれから外したら、戻すこともできたので。
Playing the come around on the out turn, well, lefty threw it, so an in-turn side, but off the wall, you're getting a lot of curl there, and this one looks pretty good. Fully buried right to the top of 12. See now, does Minami use the corner guard or try to play the come around herself?
ですからセンターラインにかかっているセンターガードがあると嫌ですね、高校チーム。
嫌なんですよ。最近のこのルールはもう嫌なんですよ。本当に。
Looks like they are having that debate themselves because
そうなんですよ。
one of the things that always frustrates me as a coach is when
2年ぐらいやってますけども。
a lot of teams will throw that corner guard and never ever think about using it.
That is such a
自分が先行だったらいいん
problem.
ですよ。自分が高校だったら嫌です。
Even on the competitive level, but especially at the club level, I see so many times we call them during league play, and they're just orphaned all the time.
どなたかが面白いルールを考えついた。
You see it at a higher level where they'll play the whole end up the middle, and then they're just counting at one point they're going to get that roll and that corner's going to come into play. But that's at a level where you're executing pretty well, and for club curlers, I don't know that's always the case, and like you said, those corners do get stranded frequently. They did opt to throw around the corner, and I don't think they got it totally buried. Looks like most of this rock. So Delaney Strouse calls for the hit and roll.
Yeah, it's definitely there and available. And they're going to hit and try to roll underneath their own.
は少し出しにくいとは思います。
狙ってますか
Not quite the whole rock, but you got 2/3 of it anyway.
込むようなヒットアンドロール。
シドニー・マリーです。
This looks pretty good. Nice soft weight there. And they get the roll under. And the yellow just falls through. So really nicely done there. Good call, good throw. Well managed all the way down.
That's exactly the term I was going to use there. It's a shot that you managed.
Yeah, it's one of those cliches. Everybody has a job to do on every shot. So if the thrower throws it close enough and the sweepers communicate and do their job and the skip calls the line right, then those are all of the nuances of shot management. And if any one of them goes wrong, then you're probably not going to get the outcome you're looking for.
Yeah, curling really is a team game when it comes to that.
Minami senses trouble and is going to bail out, get these guards out of the way, so she might have a look at that button rock after a couple of peels.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a good idea now to hit the abort button here and not get yourself in too big of a hole.
Yeah, right now a steal would be really, really tough for you, but if you can get yourself back in a situation where even if you take one, you're still in the game. So they're playing the cautious approach here. Gonna have a slow motion look at this, and I think this is one of those unlucky where you threw it threw it almost really good to get all three, and instead you jam it, and red still sits there too.
Yeah, when you're trying to move that much granite, it really is a game of millimeters.
Yeah, if that hits an inch closer to the center line, you might get all three of those reds going. But as it stands, it's not the case. So Delaney Strouse is going to look to twist the knife a little bit and throw another red in there and really put the pressure on.
Absolutely. It's a good time to take advantage of it. Team Strauss is throwing a 35% steal percentage this season, rather.
Well, it looks like they just, now we're in fast forward. Just get caught up here, but looks like they just rubbed the guard there. But so did the Japanese team, and this one a little deeper than they would have liked, but they got the rub off and under, so it's actually over buried, and it's going to be tough to get one. It has to be pretty much a perfect throw to be right on the pin frozen. I don't think you can get there with any weight.
Yeah, only the pin is available, and that's what they're going for now, because you had to do that before it gets too late.
And even if you make it, this is kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't. But even if you make it, it's going to be tough to score more than one. This looks like it's hanging a little bit wide. And now Delaney calling for the same shot, that draw right to the pin, frozen. And I like that call better than hitting the yellow. If you hit the yellow, you pretty much guarantee they'll have something to play with to get to that button, the rock right on the button. So by you throwing the freeze here, it takes away that option for the Japanese team, but also puts yourself in a really good position to steal.
I 100% agree, because that yellow rock is never going to get closer to the pin now it's behind the tee line. And you just use it. If you were to play off of it, you are definitely helping to dig them out of the hole. You're handing them a shovel.
Yeah, and this is one right here. The light was the correct miss. You know, you anywhere along that draw path is going to take away that freeze. So although it wasn't the result they were looking for, it's still a perfectly acceptable shot, and they're going to benefit from it. There is a hole there between those two yellow guards. It's whether they're lined up to make the red double, I don't think so. And I think the problem is if you hit the red that you can see between the two yellows,
you're going to jam onto the other yellow, I think.
I think so too. I think you're just going to run it right onto your yellow and make your situation worse.
But you do have to at least rearrange the deck chairs at this point.
Looks like they're trying to cut wide, come around, freeze one more time. This has to curl a mile. But if they're by, it could be close.
They seem to be pretty happy with the weight coming on down now.
And look at this finish. Walk right over. This could be a great shot. Pretty good. 2 feet, foot and a half light, but pretty good attempt. And now it really cuts down the scoring area to try to get another red one in there. But I think Strauss will be quite happy to throw a guard and have a really good look at a steal of one.
Yeah, because if you can throw a good guard here, it's going to be really difficult to generate a multiple score or even score, period.
I think you'll still have a slash in on one of those outside yellows, and if you do it just right, it could be for 3. But that's a shot I'm going to leave them every time, and if they make it, they can have it.
You definitely tip your cap in that situation.
If that's what they're throwing to score, I'm usually pretty okay with it. And yes, every now and then it backfires and they make it, but your only job is to make their shots as hard as possible, and that's a pretty tough one.
So Delaney settles in to throw her first here in the third. It's on the way. Being actively managed.
Yeah, I think this is all right. Takes away the easiest shot, which would be that. Oh, actually didn't take it away. There's still a hole there. The easiest shot, I think, is the tap on the one that was just thrown to the top 4 foot.
And that is what they're lining up.
Yeah, it looks like that's what they're taking on.
If you do this right now, 2 might be back in play.
You got to get really close to that high guard, though, and throw enough weight where you're actually moving that yellow onto the red. And there may be a perfect weight somewhere around the back 8 or back 12, where if you skinny the guard and make the tap, you could actually move that red far enough to sit 2 or 3. Just making contact with the yellow is objective number 1.
So here's Mayu Minami's stone on the way down. Needs to get by these guards.
Oh, good line, but just a little too much on the weight. Well, that was closer to probably almost backline hack weight, and just didn't want to finish with that extra speed.
Unfortunate situation there. So now you just guard it up again, eh?
Yeah, she's going to throw it again, so you try to take it away, and you're almost going to force her hand into playing that slash run back, and it's, I don't know, sometimes when you just corner somebody into that's their only shot,
they go and make it on you.
They go and make it, right? And so I don't know. It's possible that Mayu Minami's been eyeballing that for the last few shots and knowing that it might be the only thing she's got left, and she might have it lined up already.
Well, we'll know by how fast she puts down her broom.
I actually think Delaney Strouse made that shot easier now. Chipped the guard out of the way and rolled a little too far. So I think that path just got a little bit more accessible. Oh, but they're still lining up the slash. I think the same shot she just threw is way easier now because that guard's moved over a few inches.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree with you here, Brian.
However, they're putting down the broom for the slash, and if made, could be for as many as 3. It's about maybe a half a rock, and it will be pretty close. Thick half.
All right, so
could be for 4, honestly.
It certainly could be. So highlight reel opportunity. On its way down. Got to make it wrecks on the guard. And it will be a steal 1 for Delaney Strouse. And
a lot of work for 1 point, but Delaney Strouse will take it and dodged a little bit of a bullet there because that could have been a big number on the board for the Japanese team.
Absolutely. So it's 4-1 after 3. We'll be right back after these words.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Second point, and I think the name of the game now is not to panic. Don't force it as though you're not desperate yet. So I like that they've thrown the corner. Oh, they get a little rub off and
little rub. Now, is that still on the center line?
Tick. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, that looked like it might have just been good, but
yeah. So I like that they were trying to use the corner guard, and all it takes is usually one miss, and you got a chance. One half shot, one miss will give you a chance to score your two. So that's all they've got to look for. You make your shots and hope you get a half shot from the other team, and you should be able to put a crooked number on the board.
So, Brian, what would your assessment be to the level of change the no tick rule has brought to competitive curling?
It has definitely kept the big number in play a lot more than we used to see. When there was only a 4 rock free guard zone, even a 3 rock lead would have been plenty to kind of have full control of the game. But when you introduce a 5 rock free guard zone and a no tick rule, it just forces more and more rocks to be in play, which means your lead is very rarely safe. So a 3 rock lead at this point in the game really doesn't mean half as much as it used to.
So the Strouse stone now open and Japan making a play on it. Mizuki Sato's rock. They are on it to hold it. Take out is made, and it sticks right there in the top of the forefoot.
So that previous U.S. shot where they rubbed the guard out of the way was kind of that half shot that Japan was looking for. They got a little bit of a break, and they really needed to take advantage and get that roll under, and that would have put them in really good shape to score the 2. As it stands, they hit it on the nose, didn't get any roll, so it should be a pretty routine takeout for the Americans.
And now they can look to roll and recover themselves.
Yeah. But the good news for Japan here is that there are still some guards up, and it's only going to take one good roll to bring that a second point back into play. All you need is to get one buried, and then you've got the hammer. So, and they're avoiding, instead of throwing the hit, they're
draw down to it.
Maybe just throw the draw right in there. And it looks like they decided on the hit after all.
Well, a freeze is always a good way to try to generate some more offense, but also comes with some extra peril of cluttering up the scoring area. And that's going to hit and roll out. I'm pretty sure they want to stick around.
I didn't mind the draw from the other side. I don't know that a freeze at this point seems a little aggressive. Like I said, if you make it one good hit and roll or one good draw, your 2's back in play. The freeze can backfire pretty quickly. So the hit and roll out, I think that was too much weight for that shot. As you saw, it only came up to about half of the target stone, and that made it roll out pretty easily. So on the ones you need to stick around, it's always a good idea to throw maybe just a little less weight.
So now I have Ann O'Hara trying to draw one underneath of their own, and they are going to reckon the guard, but will they skitter underneath their own? No, they wick off the next one, And that's going to go to the back four.
I don't know if that was good luck or bad luck. If you just sneak by, it was probably too much weight. You get the little rub, and now you're half open on the back of the button. It's not a great spot for that shot to end up.
So referencing a hack weight here. I don't think they can curl up and pass, can they?
I don't think you can go past it. No, you're either hitting the guard or the one on the button, but
we're going to find out shortly.
This looks like more than hack weight, unfortunately. So this isn't going to curl as much as they want. They're going to try to make it.
Will they make it to get a piece of it? They will. They'll remove the stone and hang around for shot.
All the weight came off that pretty quickly. That it looked like it was a little more weight than they wanted, but it actually worked out pretty well.
So, Team Strauss with Ann O'Hara throwing her second of two here in the fourth.
With that Yellowstone behind the tee line, they're going to just still try to take advantage of the guards here. If they put it in a good spot, buried.
They are past the guard, and it is going to come up nicely just to the top of the tee line.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good spot for that one.
Now Japan is going to try to have Kana Ogawa just tap it back a few inches. It will set up a lot of rocks to jam on.
This was nicely managed by the American team. Really nice weight. And the important one there is that you don't go too deep behind the tee line, and to leave it right on the tee is pretty good. Ogawa here is going to want to throw just a hair more weight to actually move that red stone off the tee line. A freeze would be nice as long as the angles don't line up for that jam.
All right. They're straight off of it for weight. This looks like it has to curl, and it's on its way and through the uprights.
Yeah. That was not the weight they wanted on that shot. You needed to play it a little softer so you get the curl, and so any contact means you could probably still stick around.
So once again, opportunity knocking for Delaney Strouse.
I'm surprised they're not throwing the same thing they just did. You could play the same draw right to your red, and if you could be anywhere between perfect and 10 feet short, it's still going to be an effective shot.
And especially because it seems they clearly have gotten a handle on the lines a little bit faster now than their opponents. So here's Delaney with her first rock in the fourth end.
Just throwing the guard, trying to work it over a little bit more, right where O'Hara's got her broom rested, and I think that pretty much does it.
Gonna be really tough to get down to that one now. So you have two rocks if you're Minami rather. You're gonna try to work that draw in. They believe it's still there.
I think the draw is still there. You can definitely score 1 point, but even if you make it perfectly, I imagine Strouse just throws another guard and you take your one. And I think the only way you score two here is get those guards out of the way.
So here's Mayu Minami with her first in the fourth. On it hard, trying to hold it. Got to get there and get past the guard. We're past the guard. You need the weight. You got to go. Got to keep it moving. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. And just there, I think. I would have given that a few more brushes. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, top of the house, they got off just, a little early. Now you're talking fractions of an inch here, but from this angle, I think I'd still bet that red is the shot stone.
And watching the replay, you see them coming on down, and then they come up right in the middle of the 8-foot.
Yeah, they just don't sweep that last few inches, and I think that could have made a difference.
So with the guard being the indication here, I think that's the shot either way, even if they are shot, right?
Yeah, I think so too. Where either you've got a really good chance to steal one, or you're forcing them basically there's nothing there. If yellow is already shot, then there's no way to get two. So I think she just wants to plug that hole a little bit, and a little chisel off of this one. Ooh, maybe a little too much.
Well, there's definitely a stone and a half wide. Might be some opportunity here. They're going to take a good look at it. Oh, you can.
There's definitely a tap for one. I don't know if you can get to where the broom is right there. You might be able to chisel that red out, as they're indicating now.
Could he ever make three?
You have to get to obviously the left side, right where that broom is now. And just want to see how those guards are lined up again. If you could ever just squeak by the red that's just off the center line, I think there's definitely a shot for two if you do it just right, and maybe for three if it's perfect. I don't know.
Yeah, two definitely seems to be in play. Two is for sure the easier shot. And if you throw the shot for two and throw it well for two, you're very likely going to make one.
Yeah, and I think getting your one is obviously the priority, but I think if you can just get across the face of the yellow by as much as you can, maybe hit a third of your yellow rock into the red. Well, I think if you do it with kind of back 12 weight max, you might be able to get them all to stick around. But this was very precise, but getting your one is obviously the priority.
So here's the best opportunity for Mayu Minami.
You got to get real close to that red, which they are, and get across a little bit more.
You're going to get the one. Oh, no, it's not going to make it, and it's a steal one for Delaney Strouse.
I think that was just a little bit too much weight for that particular shot. They needed a little bit more curl, but that was really close.
So hang another one for red. It's 5-1 after 4. We'll be back from Miyota, Japan.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
So back after 5 ends of play, it's 5-1 in favor of Delaney Strouse. This event is in Miyota, Japan. That's about 2.5 hours outside of Tokyo. The Strouse rink showing a bit of how well they've been doing this year. They are currently ranked 14th this season on the World Curling Tour rankings, with a record of 41-28 in the season. Definitely have proven to be contenders at every event that they've had so far. The Minami rank is currently ranked 101st, 16 games in the ranking system, record of 5-11. And they're going to have the hammer here in the 5th end. They're definitely going to want to get some offense generated. We've seen a good performance thus far out of these teams, especially the Strouse rink really adapting well to the ice. Both teams struggled through the first 2 ends, trying to find both the line and the weight. But Team Strouse seems to have it dialed in a bit more. In the last end, we saw a few stones from Minami just not being where they had to be weight-wise. And Rebecca, I seeing you there in the chat, I do think it is possible the finals will be Strouse and Peterson. They're definitely very strong contenders for it. The women's side of the USA curling program has been very fun to watch so far this season. Tabitha Peterson's really taken her team to a good place. But Delaney's showing why she performed so well through juniors. So we got some people watching us. Give us a shout out. Let us know where you're at. And the 5th end of play is underway. Here comes that first center guard from Delaney Strouse. It is going to be a high guard right on the center line. Dave Schmelt, I'm joined here by Brian Chick. And we are glad to have you all with us here this evening or day, wherever it is you're watching.
Yeah, a lot of time zones in play in this particular tournament. I know that we're not in, well, I guess we're in the same time zone. We're not in the same country. And obviously, they're on the other side of the world. So lots of geography to figure out.
I always lose track. Are they ahead a day? Is it Friday there already?
I believe it's Friday morning in Japan.
All I know is that if I go there, if I get the DeLorean up to 88 miles an hour, it works out and we end up being there.
Yeah, we're looking into the future at this point, and the future is bright for Delaney Strouse at the moment, and perfect center guard to start off the fifth end.
And it looks like we have a bit of a stream lag. We're working with our partners in Japan to try to get that restarted, try to get a reboot. Hopefully we can clear that up for you folks. We do appreciate you working along there.
This is still the first day of this event from Miyota. Only the second draw. There was one earlier today.
I looked up. It is 8 degrees centigrade there currently. Thanks, John. 13 hours ahead of the Eastern time zone. And greetings from Colorado, Alaska, tuning in here. I think our total combined distance here is close to about 17,000 miles of trying to make these logistics work. So we appreciate all your patience. All right.
Hopefully it's just a matter of
takeout made there by Minami. I see our YouTube feed is running. Our live feed for commentators we're waiting on. Looks like this is shaping up to be a clean end thus far. If you're Team Minami, Brian, how do you look to build back into this game? You're down 4, which is obviously a lot for an 8-end game, but it's not insurmountable.
Yeah, at this point, like I said in the last end, you really want to focus on just make sure you score 2, and now you're creeping to that side where you do have to lean on a bit more aggressive, because a 2 and a force and a 2 still doesn't get you there. So you need to, you'd like to score something more than 2, and that's going to involve getting every rock in play that you possibly can, and you're willing to take on more risk at that point too.
And that draw attempt came up just a little bit short, so lining up the double peel here for Ann O'Hara.
It's always good when you're laughing on your way out of the hack. It usually indicates that it maybe wasn't your best slide.
And no, it's likely one that she wants back.
Yeah, so a break there for the Japanese squad, and they're going to try to take advantage of those 2 guards and see if they can hide a couple behind.
So how deep do you like this first one?
I would say probably, well, you want to keep it in front of the tee line, but the important part is that it's buried. So if that means you do go a little bit deeper, that's fine, because there's probably not a lot of chance that Team Strauss will throw a draw. So I would ideally kind of on that top 4 level, but you did need it to be totally buried, and that's not going to do it.
So now there's more rocks to choose from. The good news is that same slide would have would take that one out.
After a slide like that, you always focus a little bit harder on the next one, and that's when you're trying to throw it hard, the small mistakes get amplified by the extra power. So if your slider foot doesn't quite make it right underneath you where you want it to be, the peel weight shot is the one where you're going to notice it.
So this will not be this will just be a straight peel of the top guard, leaving guards in play for Minami. Gonna ask her third, Ogawa, to draw one in here, looking to be top 4, looks like.
Yeah, I think they're trying to use that center guard, but from the in-turn side, the clockwise turn. Trying to go between the 2 yellows and bury one behind. Doesn't look like this one has the weight, though, I don't think.
They got to get past the guard. They have the guard. They have the weight. The weight's certainly there. I think they had to.
Oh, my goodness.
They overcooked it to hold the line.
I'm having a little trouble gauging the speed from the overhead camera here. I didn't think that one had nearly that much. And I say she threw it too good. Came out the other side.
So now it's going to be chase that back one, remove a rock.
Yeah, and in fairness, I think Japan's okay with that. They're still going to have their guards to play with. And like I said last end, if they get one shot buried and Delaney Strouse can't pick it out, then there's your 2 and you're right back in this game. So if I were, you don't want to leave them lying around, and this is the right call for Delaney. It's just Japan still has those guards to play with.
We were likely looking at a skip's deuce scenario no matter what. So here comes that takeout attempt for Delaney. Looks like they had a little bit of communication that they want to get going there. And they make the hit. It's going to hang on, but that stone's quite inconsequential to the scoring right now.
Yep, and that was a nice quiet weight. Again, that they were able to manage, even with a bit of panicked sweep calling. But it because it was just kind of a nice control weight, or maybe even a board, they did allow it to curl up that little bit and make contact. They didn't really care if they stuck around there.
Delaney Strouse having a face on there saying, please, somebody sweep it.
Somebody do something.
So here comes the draw attempt. Minami trying to set the skipper's deuce.
Line looks a little bit better on this one. Now it starts to curl.
But it's going to need all the weight the brushers can give it. The vice skip comes and wanders on out, and it's going to be light. And with the offset there, now you just bury one in and make it really tough to draw in.
Yeah, the line on that was perfect. If it had even 2-3 more feet of weight, it probably could have outcounted that back red. And 3 feet would have done it, I suppose. But just didn't quite have the legs. And now Delaney Strouse can lob one in there, top 4, top 8, kind of half buried, and really put the pressure on Minami to make a good draw to the 4-foot.
So here, Delaney Strouse, the American skip from Midland, Massachusetts, from Traverse City Curling Club, Midland, Michigan. And this looks to be light. So both skips substantially off on their weight.
Yeah, they did do some minimal ice maintenance over the break, so maybe the break and the maintenance always changes the speed just a little bit.
Well, I did see them pebble the slide path. I did not see a mop. I may have missed that, though, as we were resetting our streams. So now the skippers, the front end's trying to figure out here, what weight do I throw? Do you have time for me? Give me something.
I think the debate was, do we want to take one or do you want to blank? With the scoreboard being what it is, do you want to take the points while you can? But I think they're calling for the blank, and I would agree with that call. You're more likely to score a 3 and keep yourself in the game than to take one and then steal. And at some point, again, you'd be stealing a 2 in there.
So Mayu Minami with the final stone at end number 5. And there's the hit. And will it roll out?
Wow.
It's going to hang on, and they are going to count their 1. So they're going to take a single.
Well, unfortunately, they didn't want to there. So they probably made it harder on themselves at this point, but it's the reluctant score of 1.
So Strauss will have the hammer, leading by 3 when we come back for the 6th end.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And is the choice of champions.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
And we're back here in the 6th end of play. First stones are on the way down. Brian, how about a score update from our other sheet?
Well, that is a matchup between 2 Japanese teams. One you've probably heard of, and one I'll admit I know nothing about. The one I've heard of is the Yoshimura rink, and I've actually did some coaching work with them earlier in the year, so I'm keeping an eye on that game. But they have come up against Kai Shushiya, who is currently ranked in a tie for 284th place. Sorry, no, that's wrong. 298th place in world rankings. They don't have any points on the World Curling Tour ranking system this year. So the fact that they are hanging in the game with a top 20 team in the world is pretty good. But they just put 4 on the board to take a 5-3 lead over the Yoshimura team. So the local team out of Miyota surprising Yoshimura by taking the lead after 4 ends. And Yoshimura will have the hammer playing 5th.
All right, Brian, thanks for that update. And now here in the 6th end, we have Strouse with hammer. They have one biting right now and a clear shot at the Soul Yellow Rock in. And what's your end goal here if you're Strouse here with hammer?
Number one is don't get yourself in any trouble. You don't really care. You'd like to score 2, but if you take 1 and that gives you a 4-point lead with 2 ends to go, you'd be happy with that. So, number one, play conservative, hit everything, don't let guards pile up, and then if you can make that red one that's clinging at the back of the house, if you can make that count later on, that's your bonus for 2, and then you're in really good shape to sprint for the finish line.
So now here, Saito is trying to draw undercover here. They have a lone guard. This looks to be just a touch toasty. And it's going to settle to the back 8-foot. So the hit is the prescription. And Sydney Mulaney will go to fill it.
Our friend Jerry Gertz has reminded me that the Yoshimura team this year is actually playing without Skip Yoshimura because she had a baby just earlier this month. And the 4 have been playing without her, and they've actually done quite well. They've been finalists in a few events and won one as well. They're from the same town as Minami. They're both from Sapporo.
Well, we do wish her and her family a congratulations on the addition. Future curler of the world. But the first stage is you generally use them as a stone first.
Yeah, they usually go for a ride before they start playing. So
the hit gets a little bit of roll under cover, but should still be pretty accessible here, I would think.
I still think you got a look at it. So Team Yoshimura without Yoshimura, Yuna Kotani's been skipping, and they've actually had a pretty good run through the fall season. They spent, I think, 2.5 months in Canada just playing Spiels almost every weekend.
This hit is made by Mulaney. So another chance for the hit and roll here.
Yeah, so this is where if I'm Minami's team, I'm not throwing hits anymore. You're at the stage of the game where you need more rocks in play, and you actually would rather freeze on that or play the come around draw. That guard is high enough that even if you do make the roll perfectly, you're not going to get you're still going to probably leave a chunk of it open. And so because you're a little bit desperate here on the scoreboard, you probably want to play a little bit more aggressively at this point.
And a flash update from Sheet A, Yoshimura's team has scored 5 back in the 5th.
I guess they that woke them up a little bit. Punch in the nose maybe got them a bit fired up.
So that hit and roll to the back 8 is made. So now you don't have anything to freeze to and nowhere to really hide except there in the 8-foot. So you're back doing now what you probably should have been doing to begin with.
Yeah, I think so. If you play these draws a little bit, a little sooner in the end, hopefully you get a miss and you might be able to sink a second one in there, or you give yourself a better opportunity to steal. But right now, the whole house is wide open, and that center guard is high enough that it's not going to do you a whole lot of good. So I think that this is a little too late, but you never know. You got to make the shots and see what happens.
This one appears to have all the weight and all the line. Just hanging on out there, hanging on, having a cup of coffee, and forgetting to pay the bill.
Well, it does stick around though, so it is. It's still not ideal, obviously, but any rock and play is helpful when you're trying to steal or score points.
And knowing that, Delaney will move to dispatch it.
I don't actually necessarily like this call. I'd be getting rid of the guard.
Yeah, that's your real danger rock. That's all that can really get you in trouble.
Yeah, that's the rock that's causing you problems right now. So if you get rid of that guard, you should never be too concerned with rocks at the back of the 12-foot.
As a wise curler from my club said that they, once they're behind the tee line, they never get closer.
Yeah. I mean, the ones that are touching the back line are just there to trip on. Oh, and there's a break for the Japanese.
So now you have an opportunity to set up an angle, so maybe you can make that backstone relevant as a jammer.
Well, you can make. There's a lot of those rocks on the back line. There could be catchers. However, if you wanted to try to set up a jam on your yellow, you should probably be coming at this draw the other way. If you're going to leave any of it showing, you want that to be the side that will run yours into the catchers. So they're not worried about the jam at this point. They're just trying to make a good draw. Perfectly buried top of the 8-foot or 4-foot.
So here's the skipper with her first in the 6N, needing to generate some offense without hammer here. The weight looks to be just a little bit heavy, and it's going to come on back to the 12-foot, and they do sit shut stone.
And it is pretty buried, but as we said, the ones at the back of the house should not really worry Delaney Strouse right now. I still think I'd peel the guard, and you're going to have an easy shot for 1 as long as that guard's out of the way. You might have an easy shot for 3 if you do it right, but the guard is your problem.
So a little bit of discussion there. I think the conversation is coming back to peeling that guard. So they have seen the light.
Yeah. I imagine Chris Ply sitting there behind the glass might have made a note on his game log to discuss this situation later on, because I think this is one where, like you said earlier, that's the only rock that's going to hurt you. And you're going to have an easy shot to score as long as they don't bury a perfect one around that center guard. So get rid of the center guard.
Nice firm weight and good positive release. That peel is made without any problem whatsoever. So now nowhere to run and nowhere to hide.
Yeah, their best bet now is to try to put it in a spot where there might be a jam, where you might get a little bit of a break here. I kind of like where they had the broom right on the top of biting the top of the 8-foot maybe. There are a lot of rocks to jam on back there.
Yeah, the best scenario would be to force Strouse to draw against 2 or take on a unnecessarily tough double.
Yeah, draws haven't been terribly easy to make so far from the looks of it. So if you can force Delaney to draw, especially after just throwing a big weight peel.
And here's another one where I think they threw it heavy enough, but man, I would have liked to see that come just a little bit further.
I think it did the trick, though. I think yellow's sitting too.
I think so. Taking more than one look at it, though. I'm pretty sure you're coming back to a draw no matter any way you slice it. Because you can lay up and even be heavy and roll into those catchers and make your score. I don't know if I like coming from this turn, but
yeah, at this stage of the game, if you're not comfortable drawing a piece of the 8-foot, then
you're in trouble.
You're not going to win a lot of games. So there's a, like you said, there is some backing you can use if it's a little on the heavy side, but you've got a huge margin of error here. You got almost 9 feet to play with and 4.5 feet side to side. So most curlers at this level can hit that most of the time.
I like my chances most days.
Yeah, I think I could do that more often than not.
So Delaney Strouse with her final stone in end number 6.
A little sweeping early on, and now they're backing off.
And they won no parts of it, but it looks to be okay. And it's going to settle on in, and the single point is scored.
Yep, so mission accomplished. No big score on the board, although it got a little dicier than it needed to be by leaving that center guard along a little too long, but they'll be happy with the result. Up 4 with 2 to play.
Absolutely. So Minami's going to need some offense when we come back.
Calling all curlers, novice to pro. Ashland Curling Supply's patented rotator disc system lets you customize your slider right in the store. Velcro attachments make it easy to find the sliding platform that's right for you. Shop Ashland Curling Supplies, 700 McPhillips, online at ashland.com.
A trip to Karuizawa in the spring. Only takes 1 hour by Shinkansen to Karuizawa from Tokyo. You can enjoy abundant nature and various experiences. Visit Karuizawa in the spring.
And welcome back to Miyota, Japan for the World Curling Tour. I'm Dave Schmel here with Brian Chick, and it's the 7th end of this game, and we're moving into the last 2 ends here, and Strouse has a pretty commanding lead, Brian.
Yeah, I think this is one of those situations where the team in the lead will be throwing a lot of hits, and the team behind, in this case Japan, should not be throwing a single hit until absolutely necessary. They want every rocket play that they can possibly muster, and that includes the opponents.
And we have our stream catching up here a little bit. And it's going to be 2 rocks in the house. And does appear some sort of chisel type hit was attempted by Japan. So going right again, they didn't hear you, Brian.
Nope, definitely did not. And, this is a situation where Japan definitely has to take advantage of that 5 rock free guard zone and use that second free guard. You can either stack your corners one on top of the other, or you can try to put them kind of mirror that corner guard on the other side. But you have to take advantage of those rocks because those are the ones that are going to help you build an end where you can score 2 or 3 points later on. And right now you are creeping into that desperate territory where you need to score at least 2, and 3 or more would be very helpful.
Almost every stone in play is your friend at this point, and knowing that, Delaney Strouse has just elected to toss that one through the rings.
Yeah, and that's a perfectly acceptable move. When you don't want to give them anything to play with, then why not just limit their opportunity by keeping your rocks out of the way?
Find oftentimes at league play when your lead has been struggling to throw a guard and you say absolutely no guards, that's when the 2 guard comes out 100% of the time.
Yep, I've seen that show a lot in club curling. Well, they get the tick and the roll under, and I like that weight as they left the reds at the back of the house.
So the guard's still pretty long. So just go to peel the guard here, or are you taking on the shot?
No, I think just get the guard out of the way, and then you'll see Minami probably throw it back, and then it'll peel, throw it back, it'll peel, and then it's just a matter of who's going to miss first. They're talking about maybe just nosing the red on the other side and try to split the house, or even just freezing to it.
I think they would leave the angles pretty favorable for a double takeout.
As long as you keep it wide, it's pretty flat. Not impossible, but pretty flat. Looks like they're kind of playing a freeze bump with that ice.
So here's Saito's second stone.
Little on the heavy side, but the line's not bad. Leaves the catchers back there, so not bad. But like you said, now that they did roll in a bit, and that double is possible. It doesn't look like they're taking it on, but you would see some teams that can really whip it, try to make that flat double.
Well, taking the much safer play here to make sure you remove one and roll in and try to group the rocks a little more to maybe remove more than one of them later.
Yeah, there's no point in taking it on if it's not going to improve your situation. So just make sure that you don't get yourself in any trouble. Nicely done. Hit and roll over. You're basically just trying to group your stones closer to them. So if they don't get the absolute perfect roll, then those doubles do line up a little bit easier.
So Minami needs a really good shot here out of Ogawa.
They're just looking for a little hit and roll away, trying to get keep some separation between your 2 yellows.
Trying to hold it out there. It does look to be curling up on them some. And it's going to be pretty well dead nose.
This is another one where it's not a terrible leave because of the angle on those two yellows. It's almost exactly at 45 degrees. And that means it's tough to make the chisel in-off type double, or it's really thin if you want to make the run back slash type double. So all things considered, it's not terrible. And no surprise that Team Strouse is just going to try to get rid of one of those yellows.
Roll over. So now, looks like considering the freeze.
Yep, I think that's a nice little pocket there, and potential to, if you do try to, if you put it anywhere kind of between the red and the yellow that are right next to each other, then your shooter in this case is going to be really hard to remove, and that second yellow in the back looks like it could be lined up to jam. So again, you're just trying to keep your rocks around and use what they leave you.
And that is pretty well made, and it does leave them sitting the 2.
Yeah, it's just a foot more weight than they wanted. But like you said, it's pretty well made. It's not terrible in that there's no chance that both of those yellows can go. So they will have one to play with by the end of this. They would have liked that yellow to be frozen on the red instead of tapping at that foot.
So Delaney Strouse looking to remove one of the yellow Minami stones.
Got to be careful not to over curl on this. You can hit it anywhere on the high side, on the broom side, and you'll get one of the yellows to go. But if you ever over curl it a little bit, there's a jam in play and could leave the yellows lying around.
Oh my goodness, and you get the one over the top.
Or you can do that.
Just the way we drew it up.
I said there was no way that both yellows could go, but I did not anticipate the across the top tick jam double. So sometimes you kind of roll your eyes a little bit and apologize, but it is definitely part of the game.
Yeah,
because that's not what she talked. What she was intending to do.
Absolutely not. A bit of a look of exasperation there, saying, "Oh boy, they just thought they had a little something going there."
Yeah, that we sometimes call that a bit greasy. But sometimes you get those, and sometimes you get those done to you. And every curler who's played more than a couple games has been on both sides of it.
And I've heard greasy, cheeky, and some more colorful adjectives.
Yeah, I've probably used most of those words.
And that draw comes in probably a good 2 or 3 feet shorter than they would like. They're really looking to freeze there. So now it looks like the force is going to be on with this hit being made.
Yeah, and her only same MO on this one is you can't cross the face. You can hit it anywhere on the wall side, as we're looking at on the left, and you can even jam it on your back one. Obviously not ideal, but as long as you get the yellow moving, you're probably going to be fine. And Minami's not going to have much of a shot for 2.
So Delaney Strouse, final rock for her in the 7th end.
A little more casual on the sweep call this time, which is usually a good sign. Right out the side, no jam.
No jam, no muss, no fuss, no problem. It's a draw for 1.
Against 4 is the important part here. So this is a must make or it'll be handshakes.
Laying the broom right down the center of the ice. And here comes that final stone on the way down.
Looks pretty good. Walk it right in. Throw the brakes.
And they drop that landing gear and it settles on in. They score their 1. It'll be Strouse carrying a 3-point lead into last end of play. We'll be back in a moment to catch that 8th end after this.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Welcome back to Japan, where Delaney Strouse holds a 3-point advantage with the hammer in the 8th end. I'm Dave Schmel, along with Brian Chick, and we're bringing the action here on Curling Stadium. So, Brian, dire straits if you're yellow here.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, that already is the wrong call. If you're trying to score a multiple, you can't throw your lead rocks into the house. That is just, that's wrong, right? So I do a lot of coaching, a lot of teaching, and one of the things I say is, in strategy in curling, you rarely outsmart somebody. You rarely pull off something so clever that the other guy didn't see it coming. But if you can't master the base level of, when you're down by 3 playing the 8th end, you need your guards up. And you just saw it there by throwing it into the house. Delaney Strouse is just able to come right up and rip it. So you have to take advantage of those free guards.
Absolutely. And instead of electing to throw a guard this opportunity, the call here is for a tap.
Well, after this rock, the free guard zone is no longer in play anyway. But when you are trying to steal one, she's trying to steal multiples at this point. you absolutely need to get those free guards up.
And that rock is a little bit wide and is swept through the house.
It looks like it hung on at the back, though.
Shouldn't be any issue.
No. And now that the free guard zone is out of play, you're going to see Delaney Strouse just go up and peel all the guards for the rest of the day.
So after this game, the Minami rank has Toshiya coming up next, followed by Yoshimura, and then Uzeki.
I think this game has been kind of typical what you see the first game for a particular team at a particular event. Still trying to figure out what the ice is doing. We've seen a lot of unforced errors on draws being thrown through the house, things that overcurl or undercurl. Don't quite have a full grasp on the details of where to put the broom, etc. So generally, as the competition moves on, the quality of play also improves. So you take what you can from this one and try to apply it to the next, but you generally learn more and your performance gets better as the competition progresses.
So the double peel is called for here. Just trying to keep everything open and clean at this point. Ooh, right through the middle. Okay, so bring one in now, I would say, right?
Yeah, I think now's the time. You need 3 and you've only got 4 rocks left. So looks like
they're calling to run the port there.
Either through the port or tap the yellow. This is that's a pretty tight port. I don't know that I'd be taking this one on.
I'd pick whatever the curlier side was and just try to bend one around, but they might know that they might just be trying to work on something at this point.
They
gonna wreck that top guard and not raise it in, but it leaves a stagger, but also an opportunity with them grouped so much to remove a lot of rocks here.
In our game on the neighboring sheet, it's getting exciting for the local fans cheering on Kai Chushiya. After they took 4 and Yoshimura took 5, Chushiya took 3 back in the 6th. So now it's a tie game playing the 7th. And that is a David and Goliath story that is currently coming down to the wire.
So it's 1 rock removed, and now they're going to have to look to dive in and hide again. 3 stones left. They all have to count.
The only upside to this situation is that yellow that's in front of the house is splittable. So you could tick that one on and bring another yellow one into play. But like you said, you need all of these remaining stones to stay in the rings, and you don't have hammer.
So wide open look at this one here for Anohara. That hit is made. Oh, no.
No, take the guard on the way by.
It did take the guard. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of the worst miss because you didn't even get rid of the guard. You've moved it out of the way a bit, but Now, I think if you play the split, as they're indicating, you could be sitting 3 and at least put a little bit of stress on Delaney Strouse.
So it's definitely time to think about this one for sure.
To score your 3, you're going to need 2 at best half shots, and all you can try to do is make sure you're counting 3 when she throws her last one. So I think the split is your best bet now. Maybe half tuck, bounce your guard into the left edge of the 12-foot, and then try to roll your shooter kind of staggered between the yellow that's in the 4-foot and the red guard. Make sure there's no doubles available. Assuming Delaney Strouse makes a hit, you're still going to draw in for your third, and make her throw her last one is the name of the game at this point.
Absolutely, and here we go. That rock is on its way. Trying to move it over with the brushing, Sunell. Now we're switching gears. The split is made. I think that's made pretty well.
That's pretty good. I think the only thing I was missing was a little bit more weight to try to create a bit more separation. But really good attempt, and like we said, mission accomplished. Unless a double is made here, the Japanese squad will probably have to force Delaney Strouse to throw her last one.
They are going to try to take on the double here for sure.
Yeah, no harm as long as you get one of them. And there's a couple different doubles you could make. You can nose the yellow straight back, or you can hit half a rock, or maybe a quarter of a rock and get it the wide way. But make sure one of them goes.
Delaney Strouse on the way with her first of 2 here in the 8th. This is certainly going to hit one of them.
Yeah, looking for the straight back and
just over the top. Yeah. So, where's the best place to put one here?
I kind of like splitting center line in the top 12.
Well, we see where the broom placement is. The broom would indicate maybe that's a tap or just what you called.
Yeah, regardless, Delaney Strouse is going to have a wide open hit and probably 2 or 3 different options. So I just try to think about the spot where it looks the most complicated. Whether or not it is any more complicated, it just has to look like it. So maybe puts a bit of doubt in the thrower's head.
And if nothing else, the fact that you're able to set this up to make her thrower last test gives you something to build on for your next game.
Looks like they're playing a split on that top 4 rock. Again, pretty close. If that curls a little bit more, but now
you have about 4 rock widths that you can hit.
Yeah, there's a very unlucky spot in that 4 rocks, but you don't have to be terribly precise with this throw, and you're probably going to get what you need.
So Delaney Strouse lining up her final stone here. The 23-year-old representing the Traverse City Curling Club, bringing her last.
Looked pretty positive right up the center line. Keep the brooms down. Oh, little panic sweep. Looks good enough.
And it should take it out, and that will be the game. So it'll be a final score 6-4 in favor of Delaney Strouse. What are your key takeaways from this game, Brian?
I think the ice was fooling both teams early on. And I think this Japanese team is probably inexperienced playing against some higher caliber teams, and the holes in their strategy certainly were obvious, especially late in the game, where there's some just absolute deal breakers when it comes to how you call some of those ends. A little bit more experience and maybe get some coaching, they'll come along and maybe, I mean, they put the pressure on in that last end. What if they do that a couple ends earlier on when their back was against the wall? So if you can take what you can from it as far as the ice goes, learn a little bit from strategy and whatnot. But it's the first game of the event. Both teams are still very much alive. You've got 3 more to play, and you'll see how it goes for the rest of the weekend.
Absolutely. And with that, that's going to conclude our coverage here.
I'll say one more thing real quick. The neighboring game, that football game, has continued to go back and forth, where there was a 4, and then the other team took 5, and then the other guys took 3. Yoshimura answered with 4 in the 7th, and has run them out of rocks playing 8. So Yoshimura survives the attack from the local team Kai Chichuya, and the favorite has won, but it certainly looked dramatic over there.
Well, as they say, a win is a win in the National Football League.
They can't all be pretty, that's for sure.
It will count on the scorecard nevertheless. So for Brian Chick, our engineer back in the booth or the shed or his living room, Jerry Gertz, I'm Dave Schmel. Thank you very much for joining us here on Curling Stadium. We'll be bringing you coverage all weekend from Japan, and we'll catch you later. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good night or day.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, Bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.